Now, something else that comes up a lot is that really when it comes to the PC versions of games, you are typically going to get the best version of a game in almost every case. Let me be clear about that. Of course, on consoles, a lot of times you will get games where it will be more or less optimized. But what optimized means, that kind of varies quite a bit. Because sometimes optimized means 4K at either native or close to native at 30 frames per second. Or upscaled 4K at 60 frames per second. Or 1080p at 60 frames per second. There's a variety of different things you can get. And I'm not intending to throw shade at these. I'm just simply saying this is what they would call optimized, and whether or not you agree with that that being optimized, that's a personal preference thing. But with PC, you almost always get the best possible version of the game, because it's not limited to whatever the developer set in place as far as this is how it's going to look, this is how it's going to run. You can do what you want with how you want to run the game, whether you want to do higher resolution and lower frame rate, or a higher frame rate and lower resolution, or some mix of settings to get it just how you want it. And you're not required to do it the way that they make you do it. The other thing is you'll get support for like ultra wide screens. That's something that happens quite a bit. You have the ability to adjust the field of view on a game so that you can have a much wider picture around you. And in general, you're going to find that the PC version, even if it's buggy, will end up being better. Now, that's not to say that every PC version is absolutely always better than the console versions. There are exceptions, but very few. And even those exceptions, most of the time, are only at launch. And then once they get fixed, they're a whole lot better. But even with that, because of the sheer size of how many games there are available on PC, even if a game doesn't run the best right when it came out and you just want to wait, you have the ability to wait very easily because there's so many games to play. The majority of us who play on PC primarily, we are constantly drowning in how many games we have to play. We're paralyzed by choice because we have so many options. I was in a spot recently where I realized that I had multiple different Souls games I could play. I had finished Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin, and then I decided, okay, I'm going to jump back into playing the DLC for Dark Souls 3 because I hadn't done that yet. But when I finished that, I was trying to decide, well, which Souls game should I play next? Because there's like a whole bunch of different stuff I could do. I could go back and do New Game Plus on Dark Souls 3 or on Dark Souls 2. I could continue my 4th or 5th playthrough of Dark Souls Remastered. I could play Sekiro finally. I could jump into Lies of P. I could play Mortal Shell. I could play Moonscars. I mean, there's just like and that's just the Souls-likes. That's not even thinking. Of course, then there's Bloodborne, that I want to get back to at some point, but I'm still kind of holding out hope maybe we'll eventually get a native version of the game. And then that's not even counting all the other games that I've started and haven't finished, and just I have like 600 games on PC alone to play between Steam and GOG alone. That's not even counting Ubisoft Connect, and I think all of my EA games I have in Steam now. It's like I'm paralyzed for choice, but because of the fact that I have all these different options, it also makes it so much easier when a new game comes out and it is a mess in terms of the port, to just play something else.